Hello, everybody. I'm gonna give you guys a couple, like maybe a minute or two to get in here. If you are already joined, then please let me know in the chat section if you can hear me and see me okay. If you can't, I'll go ahead and get that fixed now. So just let me know. Okay, so audio and video are all good. I do have a fan on because it is very hot in my place. So if you guys can hear like background fan, let me know and I will turn it off, but hopefully it's not an issue and I can keep it on while I do this so I get too overheated. But I will just give everybody a minute or two to get in here. Once you're in here, please say hello, say your name, where you're from. If you are a bride or groom to be, definitely let me know. I want to know who I'm talking to. So please for sure say hello. Also want to make sure like the chat and everything is working. I also do have a tiny kitten back here with me. This is Kodak. If you live in Southern California, he is available for adoption starting next Friday. He is like the last out of 4 kittens we have that still needs a home. So maybe he'll wake up and say hello at some point. Okay, so I am getting a message that my internet is unstable. Hopefully it's not going to be a problem. Hi, Anna or Anna. As soon as you guys start asking questions, I'm just going to go ahead and jump in so that whoever's watching this replay doesn't have to sit through a bunch of like intros and whatnot. Wanted to ask about RSVPs. Recently sent mine to guest and received one in the mail without a name. What should I do? That is super annoying. If you hadn't previously sent them, one tip that I would have for people would be that you could, if you're going to be receiving them back, number them and have them correspond to somebody's name. If you don't have that many guests, that might make it easy. But what I would say to you is wait till you get everybody's in and then just try to eliminate who has already sent it in. That's definitely a frustrating situation. I'm sorry about that, but through process of elimination and maybe even calling people like, hey, did you send this in? Or I haven't gotten yours yet, let me know. Hi, Kendall, you live in Berkeley. I hope everything is starting to clear up with the air up there. Very sorry about the fires. How big should engagement parties be? Kat, I would say not pandemic times, maybe as big as like, I don't know, 100 people, however many people like you plan on inviting to the wedding or kind of match that, mostly with your local guests that would be coming to your wedding. I don't know if the etiquette on that is the same thing as like a bridal shower where they say anybody who's invited to this shower, this party should be invited to the wedding. So that could definitely be something to keep in mind. Is it okay to not have a bridal shower? Absolutely. I didn't have one. Nobody offered to throw me one, so I just didn't have one. I think sometimes people look down on bridal parties thinking that they're just gift grabs. I think that you could do a non-gift bridal party. I just think it's a fun time to celebrate with your probably female friends, maybe some of your male friends too. But back to the engagement parties, really as big as you want them to be during COVID right now. If you're trying to have an engagement party, I would say keep it as small as possible, immediate family, just so it's not a risk. Hello from Monterey. I love the beautiful. So what it is, and I will just start answering. We can talk about anything wedding related, COVID specific, and really just anything. I know I took a really long break for a while just because quite frankly, I didn't have anything to talk about. And with COVID, I really just wanted to not work when I wasn't having to work. But now I'm back and I've got lots of videos planned out for the next couple of weeks. So I'm super excited about that. If you guys haven't seen some of the dress videos I've put out lately, there are several out there. And I have another one coming on Tuesday all about ball gown bustles. So lots of exciting stuff happening. And then if you guys have any future video ideas for me, you can also leave them in the comments in here. Let me know also too in the chat if you guys are having your wedding postponed to next year, if your plans are up in the air, if you're still planning on getting married this year. Kat asks, how does one go about planning a wedding in Italy when living in Canada? Can you plan it yourself or do you need to hire someone to help? Kat, I would 100% say please hire a wedding planner to help you with that. It is really difficult to plan things from afar, especially internationally. Even if you hire a wedding planner who doesn't live in Italy, maybe they live somewhere in the US, but they've worked in Italy a lot, the fact that they know the vendors out there, they know venues that are great, they know who to work with is going to be really, really helpful. They might be able to get responses back faster. They can steer you away from people who might not be a good person to hire and maybe towards people who are good to hire. Italy is gorgeous. There are so many beautiful venues. It's on my bucket list to shoot there, like a really tiny 20-person wedding. But I think there's a lot of great planners who are there. You can search them on Instagram or find some planners who are Canadian who happen to work there. But yeah, definitely get some help because it can be very, very challenging planning a destination wedding. Great question. Stuff. I want to know like when you guys are getting married, if you have your plans, anything like that, because I know that that's a really tough thing for brides right now. Im says, thoughts on anniversary photo shoots. I didn't love my wedding portraits and wish I had better pictures and maybe a different location. I love this question. So two things here. One, I love anniversary sessions. You could do it every year or you could do it every 5, every 10 years, depending on how often you want to get them done and how often your spouse will agree to have them done. So these are really fun. It's a great way to make sure that you guys are getting captured throughout your life. So it's not just your wedding photos and then nothing. Maybe you have some photos of you if you're having a baby, and then maybe like at your child's wedding, you get pictures. So many adults go decades without having professional pictures taken after their wedding. So I think anniversary sessions are a really great way to make sure that you guys have fresh photos of yourselves. In terms of the second portion of that, not liking your wedding photos, what you could possibly do during your engagement or your anniversary session is have you guys get back into your wedding attire if you'd like. So you can have some portraits, like retake them and have that wedding day look, but not actually be on your wedding day, or you can just wear whatever you want. But if you were hoping for some better pictures of you in your wedding dress, that's a great idea. I just think it's really nice. And then hiring hair and makeup for it, just kind of treating yourselves. And then after your session, go out to eat. Maybe if it's happening soon, like go on a picnic or go dine outside somewhere. It's kind of hard with COVID. But yeah, I love that. I think they're a really great idea. Good question. He's very sleepy. This is Kodak. If you guys did not get the intro earlier, he is available for adoption. So if you live in SoCal and you are looking for a kitten, he is really sweet, a big snuggle bunny, and right now very much passed out. So the rest of the kittens are in the other room, and I'm sure at some point they'll join us because they'll hear me and they'll wake up and they'll want to be pet. Oh, he's very cute. Okay, any other questions, you guys? What is my favorite part of the wedding day? From a joyful part, I would say the first look. I really love it. From like a stress relief, I love when the ceremony's over and all the group portraits are done because then it just feels like, okay, now I just go with the flow of the day. What are some ways you've seen couples step away to be alone during the wedding day? Great question. So first look is, I would say, the best time to get away from the wedding and have your own moment. I really love first looks for so many reasons, but one of them being that that could be and might be your only part of the wedding day where the two of you have private time other than your photographer. So it can be really nice because the rest of the wedding day, you're going to be pulled in 50 different directions. So that's really fantastic. If you're having your first look and that's planned in there, it's expected that you'll be on your own. If you try to like sneak away during the reception, you might have people looking for you. Guests are like, where are they? I want to talk to them. So that's a really great time. Maybe a little bit during cocktail hour to freshen up, just have a breather before your reception starts. Craziest stories I remember, family drama stories. I've been screamed at one time. It was for nothing that I did wrong, but I did have a family scream at me because the whole wedding day had just gone really chaotic for a lot of reasons that were outside of my control. And as soon as the wedding planner joined the screaming, they started screaming at him, and then I just peaced out. That was probably the most uncomfortable, crazy thing I've ever experienced at a wedding. Nothing that I've ever seen crazy go down in front of me that didn't involve me. Thankfully, most of my clients are just calm people, and there's really not a lot of drama. Kendall, you were getting married in June. heard it's best to send save the dates after the holidays. Do you wait until after the holidays or send earlier? Yes, that's a great question. So if you're kind of getting married where the 6 months before the wedding or 4 months, whatever your save the date plan you're going with is going to be in December, definitely wait. People get a lot of mail in December, so yours could get lost in the shuffle, lost in the mail in general. So I would try to send them out after the new year, maybe like January 4th or 5th, something like that. That would be a lot safer. Worried about conflicting with other wedding dates because of postponements. I've already learned a couple of family friends postponing my date. That is unfortunately going to be an issue with next year. I don't want to say there's going to be double the amount of weddings as usual, but there's going to be a significantly higher amount of weddings. And that is going to cause a lot of problems for everybody. So brides who haven't gotten all their vendors yet might have a really hard time booking vendors that they love. I know for me, I'm worried about how I'm going to find a second shooter when all my friends are already booked up for dates. I mean, I have my husband who can shoot with me, but my normal second shooters might be booked because there's so many weddings happening. I would say that hopefully your closest, nearest, and dearest are going with your wedding. That's something that's just going to be hard to control. You could send your save the dates out extra early in like early November if you don't want to wait till January. Is it weird for the bride paying for her own wedding ring? Have you ever heard of this? No, I don't think it's weird. I actually wanted like a little bit bigger of an engagement ring myself, so I contributed to the engagement ring. I think it's totally fine. I mean, it's modern times. People do all kinds of crazy things, like whether it's your fiance doesn't want to or can't spend as much money to get you what you want, and you just want to like make up the difference. I mean, it's your ring. You're going to wear it hopefully for forever. So I don't know if you want to invest in it, definitely. If you're talking about paying entirely for it, again, I think that's totally up to you. Nobody should judge you for that. And if it's something that you and your fiance are comfortable with, go for it. For wedding bands, I still don't have my wedding band because the one I want is really overpriced. And I'm like, this is just not a good time to buy that. So like we had our house, we had COVID, all these things. So eventually I'll get one. Maybe I'll buy it myself. Who knows? But whatever for now. How many months before the wedding should you take your engagement photos? That depends entirely on if you need to use your engagement photos for your save the date cards. If you do, then I would say make sure that you have your save the dates going out like maybe 6 months before the wedding. And what you can do is you can make sure that you have your engagement session at least a month before that. And that will kind of help that problem. If you don't need your photos for the save the dates, you could literally do it the day before your wedding. I wouldn't recommend that, but if you live in a different city than your photographer or they are coming in and meeting you for the first time, you could do it the week of your wedding. I've had several couples do this. It works out just fine. Let's see. Any photography tips for plus size brides? Yeah. So hopefully you're working with a photographer who can pose well. My noise canceling keeps turning off, so it's like distracting me. So, okay, there we go. Hopefully you have a photographer who knows how to pose well. But one thing that you can also do, and I recommend this to any couple that I work with, is practice posing yourself in front of mirrors so that when you're out on your shoot, if your photographer isn't giving a ton of direction, you at least know, like, when I do this, this looks a little bit better. I know for most women, whether they're really small or on the larger side, they hate when their arm gets squished to their side because it makes it look larger. So if you can, always make sure to leave your arm a little bit away from your body. That's always really, really good tip to have. Even if you're holding something like your bouquet, make sure your arms aren't pressed in. If you have a little bit of space to show that waist, you reduce some of the bulk from like arm to arm. Now it's just like waist to waist. So that's kind of the best tips I can give you for learning things on your own. Being on YouTube, do you watch YouTubers' wedding videos and photos? Honestly, I don't. So I really like am so involved in the world of weddings. I have my YouTube channel. I have 2 different wedding businesses that any free time I have, I literally do not want to look at wedding stuff. So I'm on TikTok a lot. I like watching anything under the sun. If something wedding pops up, I immediately scroll past. Like there's just only so much wedding stuff I can take that I just I can't look at all these people's things. But if it's somebody that I know and I follow, which I really don't follow a lot of celebrities, but if it was, then maybe I would go take a peek at their stuff. But that was a fun question. I'm overflowing with weddings. How long does it usually take to get your photos after your wedding? Highly depends on the photographer. For me, I try to deliver my clients' photos in like 5 to 6 weeks. I usually tell them it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks. And sometimes if I'm slammed, like next summer, I'm going to be slammed, it's going to take closer to that 6 to 7 week. Some people are like 12 weeks. If you have a contract, make sure your photographer specifies when your photos will be delivered so that if it is getting really close to that delivery date, you can be like, hey, I noticed in our contract they're supposed to be delivered by 12 weeks after the wedding, just checking in because it's been 12 weeks. If they go past it, I would definitely have a conversation about that. Can I recommend a bridesmaid dress brand? I love like Mismatched. I think that's super fun. I have a video on that. You'd like the standard $200. Maybe Beholden. Someone's crying. Who's crying? I hear a kitten crying. Beholden might be really good. Jenny U, I know, is a nice brand. Yeah, and honestly, even just searching on Nordstrom, if you tell your bridesmaids, hey, get a dress in this color, get it this length, send me your choice and I'll review them, then they can really find it from anywhere. They could go to like a Nordstrom or a Saks, or they could go to like a Macy's, whatever is going to fit their budget. When looking for photographers, how many years of experience is a good amount? Honestly, this is like kind of a metric where I would say minimum a year, but after that, it really should just be all about how good their photos look and how good their full galleries look. I know of people who have been photographing weddings for 15, 16 years, and I think their work's really started. And then I know some people who've been doing this for 1 to 2 years and they're amazing. So I would really just say make sure they've shot a full season on their own, not just second shooting for other people, depending on how much you're investing. If you're wanting to spend on the lower end of things, then maybe you can't have expectations that they've been shooting for a really long time. So there's kind of that experience and what they're charging. Let's see. What happens in an accessory appointment? Does this happen the day you pick up your dress? Definitely not. So typically when your dress arrives, it's a couple months before your wedding. You could pick it up then and try on these things with your dress. It doesn't have to be though. So our brides kind of go all over the place. Sometimes they're picking up their dress like a week before the wedding. They want us to store it and they take it home really close to the wedding. I know. He's crying. um, but during an accessory appointment, basically you'll come in, you'll let the stylist know I'm looking for more gold or more silver, more floral, more rhinestone. If you have your dress with you, then try it on and put the accessories on. If your dress is not in yet, you can have them pull a dress that is yours and clip it for you if it's not the right size, or pull something that's similar to your dress if it's not the same boutique where you got your gown. And then you can just see what kind of suits you best. If you want hair accessories, if you want jewelry, things like that. Same thing with shoes. Shoes are really good to get. Do you have to do a same day edit? I'm guessing you're talking about like photo or video delivering some the same day. I never do that. When I come home from a wedding, the last thing I want to do is sit at my computer and do any editing. So I don't. Some photographers do. They're okay with that. I know some wedding planners who basically demand that you send them very specific photos like the same day of the wedding or within 24 hours. That's not for me. I want to take my break. I want to like come home and relax, even if I'm super excited about a wedding. But I also shoot a lot of film, and like I literally can't do a sneak peek or edit my film. Like I have to mail it out. They develop it, scan it, send it back to me, which is kind of nice. So then like I literally can't give a sneak peek if I wanted to. How did I become a kitten foster? So I contacted the San Diego Humane Society. If you guys have humane societies around you, contact them. We took an online class to learn about fostering, and then we did some in-person stuff. A lot of places are doing virtual learning. And then we just signed up and we just basically say, hey, we're ready for some kittens down. They say, here's some choices. Which do you want? And it's usually based on age and their needs, any medical needs, issues, things like that. We decide this is who we want and we take them. So these guys that we have here are about almost 8.5 weeks now, and they will be with us for another week. Are there any cons to renting wedding dresses? Yeah. The biggest con I would say is if it's going to fit you well or not. It's really, really, really important for the bride, groom, whoever, that when you have your wedding day, that your outfits fit you flawlessly. So this happens a lot with grooms, especially during the engagement session, or groomsmen. Their suits and tuxes like sometimes just do not fit them whatsoever. Ill-fitted clothing, whether it's too tight or too big, looks really bad. So that would be one of my biggest concerns with renting a wedding dress is Can you really do any alterations to it? How well is it going to fit you? If it kind of doesn't fit that well, it could really show up in your pictures. If you don't really care about that, go for it. Obviously, it's a cost effective, environmentally friendly thing to do. Another thing you can do is just buy your dress and then try to sell it afterwards, depending on the designer you choose, the bridal size you are. If you're like a bridal size 10 to 12, I think that's like average for non plus size, then you're going to be able to sell your dress a little bit easier. And if the designer is well known, and if the dress is like a popular dress. So certain Haley pages would sell really well. Yeah, the same day video edit. So since I don't do video, I don't have to deal with that, but I do know videographers who do the same day video edit. It is what it is. My personal thoughts about that, like if I was a bride again, I don't think I would want to see videos or pictures from my wedding day that day, because I want to finish living the day before I relive it. So our photographer even gave us a choice of having sneak peeks, like 2 of them the next day or a lot more in 2 weeks, and I chose to have them 2 weeks later because I wanted to, like, have those memories before I started, like, looking at them. But some people really want that, like, instant gratification of seeing their video or seeing their photo. So it's all personal preference, and usually videographers or photographers who offer something, like, grander like that, you are gonna have to pay a little extra because they're gonna have to, like, bring their laptops, they're gonna have to upload it. Maybe during their dinner break, they're editing and getting it ready instead of eating. So just something that I would expect to pay a little bit more for. He is so cute. Yeah, so any more questions, you guys? I'm gonna try to keep this video to about 30 minutes tops, just so it's not too long for people watching the replay. Anything about wedding dresses, wedding photography, COVID, I don't know, anything you guys wanna ask, I'm happy to answer, or stuff about kittens. Again, I'm gonna say it one more time. If you are in Southern California and you would like a kitten, Kodak here is available for adoption. He will be available next Friday to pick up in San Diego, and he is super cute and just giving himself a bath back there. So you guys get wedding and kitten content today. So if there are any more questions, go ahead and type those in now, and I'll give you guys a minute to do that. If not, on Tuesday, I'm going to be putting out a video about ball gown bustles. That was a highly requested video after my other bustle video I did with my stylist, Stacy. And then the week after that, we're going to be talking about gown sizing because it can be a little bit confusing. Kat asked, what are a couple of things I love doing at my wedding versus what I wish I did? That's a really fun question. I feel like there were so many things that I knew I wanted or didn't want to do at our wedding based on my experience. And one thing I knew that I wanted to do was eat my full slice of cake. So typically during the wedding, the couple will cut the cake, they'll feed each other that bite, and then they go off and they get pulled in different directions. I love cake, and we had nothing but cake for our cake cutting. And I was like, I am going to eat this entire cake myself. So what we did was we had a silent cake cutting where we didn't like announce it. We didn't have anybody come over except the photographer. We cut it, we ate it. David went off to do something, and I literally just walked around, stayed away from everybody, and ate my full slice of cake because that was like, I really wanted that cake. We also did a first look. I mean, we didn't have a ceremony on our wedding day, but that was really fun too. I love his reaction from it. And it was just a really nice moment to like start the day together. We also spent the night together the night before. David left before hair and makeup came. That was convenient. I'm glad we did that. I didn't feel like we had to spend the night apart or anything. And it was kind of fun, like laying in bed, talking about the rehearsal dinner and just getting ready for the day, like talking about how excited we were. What has been the hardest part of COVID for me? Having basically all my weddings from this year pushed to prime summer Saturday dates next year. So I'm done shooting weddings until next July, to my knowledge, other than really teeny tiny things. That's been really tough. Also, I did have to shoot some weddings this year, and it's really scary because most of the guests were acting like there was no pandemic going on, like getting really close in our faces, not wearing masks. I don't know where they've been. That was kind of tough for me. So I'm really glad that I don't have any more weddings until next summer. Hopefully COVID is over by next July, fingers crossed. But it's just been really hard. I mean, for the boutique, we had hundreds of brides have to postpone. That was super crazy. We got shut down for 2 months, so we couldn't work. We bought the boutique last September, so we'd had it 6 months, and then we were shut down, and now we've had it for about a year. So that's just been really tough. To be honest, I would rather be a bride and have my one wedding postponed a year than be a vendor twice over and have like all my weddings just shoved off my plate. Let's see. Fellow wedding photographers I look up to. That's a good question. I try not to follow too many because I don't want to like get jealous. And I don't know, again, like I don't look a lot into wedding stuff online because I'm so consumed with weddings all the time. I think Katie Mary has really beautiful work. She is just has the most soulful images. And I really love that. And she's been doing this a long time. She's very, very high end wedding photographer. Like to hire her for your wedding is like the cost of a car. Sure, it's very much worth it for her clients who can afford that, but she's really fantastic. So somebody that I like, KT Mary. That's KT Mary, Mary. Yeah, this one is starting to wake up. Oh, he's playing with the bed sheets. Very cute. All right. Well, great questions, you guys. If there's nothing else, then I will say goodbye. Again, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, if you're not already doing that, please do so. If you have not bought my book, Bride's Guide to a Picture Perfect Wedding, you can find that on Amazon. If you need a face mask, my bridal boutique is selling face masks at thewhiteflower.com/shop. You guys are so welcome. Thank you for being here. And then if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching and making it this far. I hope this was helpful. So yeah, lots of exciting videos coming up. If you guys don't have your gown yet, we are going to be announcing a really, really cool event, a virtual sample sale that's going to be coming up in the next month or two. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Or if you want a second dress at a really good bargain, that's going to be something to look out for. So anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. It was fun doing this, fun interacting with you guys. Definitely has been really lonely in COVID. I only see 5 different people. So I appreciate you guys being here. And to end, anything I regret doing on my wedding day, nothing I regret. It was like as perfect as the day could be. So I guess my only regret is that we didn't have like even more hours with our friends and family. But yeah, that was pretty much it. And then anything I regretted spending money on? No, every penny was really well spent. I did a lot of trades with my vendor friends for photography services for stuff like to get even more. Nothing I regret at all. It was a perfect day. I just want to do it all over again. So I'm going to end off there. Again, if you want a kitten, let me know. I can reserve him for you. Grab my book, grab a face mask, and stay tuned to our future videos. Thanks, guys. See you later.